Big fluff.
Hello, world. It's Stephanie Cmar, and I am here to tell you that I know some shit.
Exotica. Hi, everybody. I'm Joel Murphy.
And I'm Stephanie Cmar.
And this is Stephanie Knows Some Shit.
Where Joel does what you can't see, which is do a little point and flare when he says, Stephanie knows some shit.
It's a key part of the intro, is you got to put the finger up in the air and yeah.
Joel, I once did a commercial for Chase Sapphire, and I had to do all these voiceovers. And I was like, ugh. And so we're standing in this restaurant, and they're like, okay, say, what was it? Strozzapreti, which is a type of pasta. They're like, say it. And I'm like, Strozzapreti. And they're like, now say it with a smile. And I was like, Strozzapreti. And it actually, I always think about that, how your facial movements sort of dictate how you're going to be. So without that point, it would have been like, Stephanie knows some shit.
Exactly. No, it's one of my favorite things in the world is to watch voice actors who are all criminally underrated.
Criminally.
Yes. See, you pointed. But if you ever watch Mark Hamill in a booth, he's standing, he's acting everything out. It's fantastic.
I get it.
Yeah.
I just did a commercial for Bush's Baked Beans, and it was a complete voiceover. And I was in it to win it. And it's so fun. We talked about it. I'm voice acting is the sickest. And I was like, there can't be any voice actors. And then I look online, simple Google, and it's there are 6 quadrillion voice actors, and this is not your next career path.
Yeah, no, it's hard. Mm-hmm. Trust me, it's my secret dream career path. So I'm with you.
We all have one.
Yeah,
we all have one. But I'm so excited for today. So this might seem like we waited too long, but Joel and I are humans, and we actually had to sit down, find time, and watch the whole series. So we're just getting to it now. But we are going to be talking about Iron Chef, which debuted on Netflix. Don't know when, don't know how, do know why, because we all missed Iron Chef. So I wanted to talk about it because I'm a lover of cooking shows and cookbooks. I don't really watch anything but cooking TV. 2 thumbs up for The Bear on Hulu. I don't want to start this. I don't want to get into it, Joel. It is causing a whole uproar on Twitter. I like to go on Twitter around 3:00 in the morning and just see what's stirring.
I do see that everyone talks about it. Haven't seen it. Don't know.
It's very good.
Yeah.
It's very good. I remembered when David was so cute on the line, yelling at people in his chef whites. And I was like, ooh, okay, that's enough about me. So we're going to be talking about Iron Chef, and we're going to talk about the positives. There were no big negatives, but we are going to talk about our personal criticisms, which, we need to be impartial, even though Kristen's my biff and I love her more than anything, and I'm just going to get it out now because it's early in the podcast. When I watch Kristen, number one, whenever she's on a TV show, I always get choked up because it's my sister, it's my family. It's something. She was so natural. She was the same Kristen that FaceTimes me from the bathroom that was on my TV screen, the same one who calls me just to tell me that she saw a coyote and thought it was a golden retriever. That was me. That wasn't Kristen. That was me that did that, but that's fine. She was so freaking natural and funny and cute. And I know her so well that I picked up on her weird what do you call them? Idiosyncrasies?
Idiosyncrasies. Yeah.
Idiosyncrasies. So when Kristen is nervous, overwhelmed, or on camera, she will either take her apron and retie it 60 million times. She flaps it out to get the wrinkles out, and then she ties it real tight, and 30 seconds later, she flaps it out. And she does the same thing with her blazer buttons. Nobody's going to be able to watch the show with the same thing anymore. But she was fucking phenomenal. And I don't like to use the F word, but I really mean it.
Wait. So, you don't like to use the F word. This is what you're going with?
Do I use the F word a lot?
I don't even know that you use it a lot, but you don't not use it.
I always think there has to be somebody listening to our podcast, in the car with their children.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be The one, I'll just start spelling it out. I'll spell it out. It'll be fine. I always think about these things. We were just talking about being sensitive. I'm like, well, what if there's a baby in the car and the baby hears the F word and repeats it? And then they're like, Stephanie, but there's also shit in the name of the show. So who knows what I'm worried about?
Yeah. I mean, we say the word shit, multiple times within the first,
my favorite word,
like 20 seconds of the show. So
yeah, it's about, you know what? I don't know what I was worried about.
With a finger point also.
With a finger point.
But no, I will say, obviously, my entire knowledge of Kristen Kish comes from seeing her on television and that one time she was on this podcast. But but I will say that I think that watching it, I thought this was such a perfect use of her. Yeah, that she's just so naturally great that she fit in really well. And yeah, she seems really knowledgeable. She also seems really comfortable.
She was lying through her teeth. No, I'm just kidding. She seemed really happy on the shoot.
But it felt like a really great use of her, like of her skill set as a TV presence.
Did you get the impression that Alton Brown was enjoying himself more than with Kevin Gosh with the Flavor Saver?
I don't know. I do think it seemed pretty loose. Like there was kind of a loose vibe, I thought, to the show. So, I don't know if that that
leads me to my first critique. They took out the rectangle dining room table and put a circle in there, and that switched the vibe.
Yeah.
It switched the vibe. I did not like the round table.
Yeah, the round table was weird.
I like when the judges have a sense of authority.
Yes, I do.
Like scare your person.
How did you feel about Kristen and Alton Brown getting to try the food?
Loved.
Yeah, I thought that was cool that they brought them in on that.
Loved, because I feel like they were watching so close. So everybody, just to put it in your heads, the challenge is an hour, and it is really an hour. It's not a fake hour. It's really an hour. So for 1 hour, they were live watching it, not on a prompter like the judges and whatnot. And I just feel like I love the fact that they taste the food. I love it. I love it because imagine if they were like sitting at the table not eating the food. You know what I mean? I'm glad that they're included.
Yes.
And it's two personalities that you're just like, thank you for carrying the story through the entire thing.
Yeah. Also, is it just me, or was there less actually like on the floor interacting with the chefs?
Much less.
Yeah, right? Like I did pick up on that which I did kind of miss. Like I did enjoy that about the show, that where they would kind of go, and like that was always a fun part of Iron Chef was, always. I love that on Top Chef too. It's because it's both, there's something really dynamic and fun about it, but also you can always see the chef,
the absolute hatred.
Yes, I'm
trying to think. You know who does it? Jet Tila on like Beat Bobby Flay, or something like that. He just gets in their business, and you see these like amateurs or professionals, doesn't matter, but like the ones who are already like rocked by this whole experience, and you're just like, dude. I do feel like they used to do it us. They'd be like, Stephanie, ask Joel how his food's coming along, and I'd be like, oh, how's your fucking food coming along?
Yeah. Well, I also feel like they love sending Tom Colicchio into that kitchen.
He's the only one.
Yeah, he'll go to everyone's station and be like, what are you making?
I've run away from him so many times. I'll be like, one moment, chef. I'm just going into the walk-in to hyperventilate and be like, farts, that was not good. And then I like run back out.
It is funny though that you confirmed what I had always suspected, which is that those hey, what are you making conversations are completely initiated by a producer.
Bad. They're so initiated by producers. 100%.
They feel like it. Like,
and they pick somebody like Gregory would be like 40 yards away, and they'd be like, Stephanie, scream out to Gregory and see how he's doing. And I have a really bad yelling voice. Like I have a pitch, and then I can't hit anything higher, so it just cracks and stuff. And I'd be like, sounding like a squawking seagull, trying to ask him how he's doing. It was a fiasco. But yeah, so I love that. And like also listening to the show, and when I would turn my head, I could always tell when Kristen was like, going back to Kristen and then I'm done, was like dubbing over, like voicing over things. It was just so interesting to watch. I've never watched a show that I've previously loved with her on it. So I was like, yes.
Well, that is, yeah. I mean, it's such a like institution of a show that I would imagine to have your friend on it would be kind of a surreal thing. Like, I think we're all happy from like a distance knowing, but yeah, it's like such a weird thing that how would you have guessed that, you know, in the 90s or early 2000s when Iron Chef was such a thing? That
I can tell you the specific year, 1993. And I can tell you that because I literally watch Iron Chef every night.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention, but it's like, you know how some people are like, I just put like The Office in the background. My Iron Chef.
You know what I forgot? I actually went because I wanted for this podcast to be ready. I went and watched some of the original Iron Chef because I wanted to have it in my head. I forgot how fancy the original chairman is. Like he's quite the dresser. Like
with his ascots.
Yeah.
With his buffonti things, with his sequins. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, he is dressed to the nines like the original chairman. It's really something.
I wish I had established a fashion sense younger because I would be so fabulous by now.
We haven't talked about the fact because this is a
leather.
podcast that you're wearing a cowboy hat as we're recording this.
I am, guys. I was gardening. It was unnatural.
But it's a good cowboy hat, I think.
It is. It's got like, I don't know. It's really good. But when we got on the podcast, I was like, Joel, you got to see this. And I like showed him my hair drenched with sweat.
Yep. This is where we're at
with sweat. Apparently
in our
you're
friendship.
Yeah, we're just crushing it over here. Okay. So we thought that was great.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything about, I didn't, and I know it sounds so petty not liking the table, but I really didn't. Is there anything else about the format that we should speak of before we get into the chefs?
I was trying to remember if I remember this correctly or not. So let me know if I'm wrong. But I thought that they used to pick which Iron Chef they went against. Did I make that up or is that real?
Wait, what was that?
The people that would compete on the show, wasn't there a time when they would decide which Iron Chef they would go against? Yes,
and they picked them here.
Yeah.
However, the original chairman sometimes would choose for the chefs.
Okay, right. But I guess that would be, that's again, it's a small thing, but I like them getting to pick.
You can judge a lot by, I'm going to leave everybody unmentioned, but a chef that I respect and know chose another chef on the Food Network version of Iron Chef that was I think his quality of food was, he could have pushed himself further and chose an easier chef to go against. And, you know, I live with that fact now.
Well, yeah, I always feel like, to me, it was like when you would watch the one version, it was like you wanted to beat Morimoto. Like that was the
They
test.
hated him at the beginning.
Oh, really?
Everybody in Japan hated him.
Well, that's an interesting thing. Yeah, that I got a little bit of that from the original one, that because he was an outsider to them, right? Like he was, to them, he was coming from
No, he
New
was
York.
Neo-Japanese is what they always say, and they don't mean it in a cool way.
Yeah. Which is so fascinating, to think about all that.
Yeah, the first several. So I've literally been watching Iron Chef from the beginning because it's on Amazon Prime. Sponsor us.
Yeah.
And that'd be sick.
They have a lot of money.
They do. At the beginning of Morimoto, he was making like really, you could tell. It's so interesting. I'm going to get into this talking about some of the chefs on this season of Iron Chef, but he was using like props to tell his story about New York and stuff. Like I'm just seeing all these things, but and they hated it, Joel. They hated it. That little lady, the tarot card reader at the end, pissed. Pissed.
I was very happy to see him pop up on this version.
He's the best. Did I ever tell you? I'm going to tell you a story about Morimoto. So we were in Hawaii filming the season 11 finale. And because I wasn't in it, I got to do like whatever. I was a sous chef for a day, but I just was hanging out in Hawaii waiting to become a sous chef for the day. And so we're all like the brokenhearted failures are all hanging out by the pool and we see Morimoto and I'm like, holy shit. We all know I fangirl over a celebrity, chef celebrity, I die. So we all take a picture with him and I zoom in on the picture and a third of my boob is hanging out of my bikini top and it is completely unusable. And I have no proof other than the legend of Morimoto and the under boob.
I feel
but
like
you can't understand him.
I feel like you could Photoshop that now. You know, I don't know, just like
you could. It's also like a 2015 pic, so it's like super pixelated and stuff. Res. It's not good.
They probably wouldn't even know what's going on then.
Yeah.
Plausible deniability.
But Morimoto's so badass. I was just in Seattle this past weekend and we went into an H-Mart and he's got like his face on tonkatsu ramen. Like, I hate the word hustler. Like, I love it and hate it. And I don't think he's a hustler, but like, put your face on that bag.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. I think I'm a sucker for that. People that like choose a thing, ramen, for example, and put their face on it.
Well, that's like this is kind of jumping around on Iron Chef, but one of the guest judges was Danny Trejo, and he is an absolute legend I love his donut shop and his taco place in LA. They're both great, but that man loves to put his face on, like, if you get a drink, it's on the drink. If you
love that.
The bag has a sticker. If you're a donut box or whatever you get, like everything just
like
has
some Noriega shit. Like that is saying I dominate and will like push anybody out. David and I were talking about Noriega before. I really don't know who it is.
Well, and it cracked me up with Trejo too, because like even in this, I think he literally said like to Esther Choi, like, your donut is so good, please don't open a donut.
He said, please don't open up a donut shop.
Yeah.
So I've met him. I loved him.
You competed.
I cooked for him. He loved my taco.
Yeah.
Loved it, guys. I won.
Mm-hmm.
Not to bring it up. But on set, he beats to his own drum, and not a weird drum. I don't know how to describe it.
Well, I mean, he's a guy that has both, you know, he spent a lot of time in prison and a lot of time in recovery.
Drugs.
So I think he's just reached, and plus he's the coolest person on the planet. So like, I think some combination of all of that, like he's totally fine being by himself. Like he's very comfortable, I think, in his own skin at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like rock on. I loved all the guest judges that they had. Lonnie Love, who I have no idea who she is, when she cried tasting that dish, I did too. Basically is the end of that story. I cried too, because I was like, that's the goal. Well, that was you can move somebody and bring back a memory.
No, and that was such a cool moment. But I think that there's something to that, right? That maybe this is something to talk about too, with it going to Netflix, that it really did mix up who we saw on it, both in the guest judges. Obviously the Iron Chefs are different. Like it really is a whole new sort of palette of people to put into the show, which was kind of, I feel like it took a little bit of an adjustment, but I think also was good. And
at first I was like, no.
Right. But that's what I mean, is like you first see those Iron Chefs and you're like, these aren't the Iron Chefs.
I love the idea of Turkey and the Wolf. I love their Instagram. I have their cookbook. I've never met them. I don't know them, whatever. But I was like, when he started, because he's such a goober.
Yeah,
I liked him after a while.
I thought like I
don't know. He was a goober.
There was like a little too much aesthetic.
I didn't love the beers in the middle of the thing,
but that's what I mean. And like
it's hard to work, and it seemed, I don't care if you're drinking a beer, but I don't. I think I was just raised in much stricter kitchens where it's like it's a little disrespectful. But props to you, Turkey. I
think that was the thing. He was like a little too, because it was a Mason Hereford was his name, right?
Yes, but
it was his stuff. Like there was a little bit too much playfulness. Like I think branding is really good, and there's all that's good, but it's like I got the impression sometimes he was too focused on like this aesthetic of, I'm going to serve it in a lunchbox. I'm, serving it in a Frito bag. It's a taco holder. That's a dinosaur. And it's like, I get all that, but it's like, I don't think that works.
At some point you're like, ew.
Yeah, is like, the food good? That's what they care about. Like, these are all props. I think that's what it is. They all felt like props, and we're
not prop people.
Yeah, that's why I've never seen Carrot Top. Like,
oh God, did you notice the generational cooking styles between the Challenger versus in Iron Chef. I thought that was like the most interesting thing for me.
It's funny, like now that you pointed out, I hadn't actively thought about it, but yeah, that definitely is an element like, there.
I've cooked with Dominique Crenn one time, and I've cooked with Gregory. This is a great example.
Yeah.
And age difference, we might all be in like kind of the same range, but there is something so specific about the way she has cultivated and culminated her career to the way that this younger generation, as we find our footing in TV and podcasting and sign up for our newsletter and Instagram, that the whole style is different. You know, I'm trying to think of the word. It's not the focus. It is to a certain degree the playfulness.
Right.
There's less whimsy in my generation of food and more fun, where in the generation just above me, the Dominiques, the Curtises, the people I would never call by their first name, they are doing whimsy and taking out the fun.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, there might not be a dinosaur, but like this one thing is supposed to represent the seashell that she stepped on when she was like 2. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's a really elaborate story. And one of the things that Dominique Crenn, and I know everybody, I don't have a French accent and I just can't do it for you, but I know I'm saying it Americanized. But she tells this story. And for most people, I'd be like, that's so cliche and bullshit. She is writing a story in her head. You can see it. And that is so different than the way I think of food. And really, honestly, Joel, I don't know if I know anybody who thinks about food in the same capacity as she does. And I've never tasted her food. I cooked with her, but I got kicked off that episode. So I'm not going to say I like crushed that impression. But like I don't know. I just think it's wild to write a poem and make food after it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also to write a poem. I don't know if I've written a poem since 9th grade.
She also seems like such a badass to me. Like
she's such a badass.
Yeah.
She has beat cancer.
Yeah.
She married Maria Bello, who I had a crush on. She has 2 beautiful children. She's been on Chef's Table. She's the first female Michelin star. I'm not even reading this off of a list. I know this in my head.
Yeah.
You know, she kicks ass. And kind of like, to put it this way, Kristen is very much Dominique Crenn, where I would be very much the challenger. You know, like it was just the juxtaposition of the 2 different styles. And Curtis Stone's another great example. I thought Curtis Stone, do you remember he used to have a grocery store show on Food Network back in the early 2000s?
I don't know. See, I remember that because he hosted a Top Chef that was like, what was his Top Chef? It was
I don't know.
Masters, right? I think he did Top Chef Masters. Yeah, that's what I remember him from.
Oh, I don't remember. Well, I just thought he was like a chef.
Well, yeah,
I didn't think he was like a chef,
right? But I mean,
he's a damn chef.
As far as TV goes, that's what I remember him on, was Top Chef Masters.
I remember him like it was like kind of grocery store sweeps, stakeout, like all of the above. I watched it in culinary school for sure.
Yeah,
I just didn't know he was like. I mean, whatever. I'm just going on. I was really impressed by him.
Yeah, I'm very impressed. I really like Curtis Stone, but that's kind of what I want to ask this question now. I'm going to put it. So like, I kind of put that out there, right? Of there was a version of Iron Chef where you would pick who you wanted to compete against. Who would you, of these Iron Chefs, like who would you want to go against?
I'm trying to think because I don't relate to any of them.
I also just, by the way, while we're talking about all the Iron Chefs, Marcus Samuelsson to me is the coolest person on the planet. Like, I just love Marcus Samuelsson so much. And as I say this to you in your cowboy hat, like his hat game is strong.
Sick.
Yeah.
I'm a hat person now.
Yeah. I think you should. You should try for that, like that red, like under the brim of his hat that he had. That was a good look.
I told David, I'm going to become a hat person and a person who just wears has like purses with themes, you know? So right now I'm rocking a glitter rainbow clutch.
Love it.
Yeah, this is new day, new me. His hat game, his apron game, just his style, and I love the what did he call him? Ethiopia, Sweden. He had some term for his cooking style that I was like, sick, dude. Like really, really cool.
But yeah, he's one of the his story is really cool. Like he always is styled so immaculately, and he's just always. I don't know. He seems like he has so much energy and positivity every time he's on screen.
Yes.
Too.
The Aquavit cookbook, make sure to link this to our bookstore, is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Their ginger orange cookies at the end. I never do the dessert recipes. I normally skip over it in a cookbook. My client, Alex, loves them, and I made them for Christmas. They have like candied orange in them. It's like a whole situation. It took me 14 days, but they were good cookies.
Nice. 14 days.
Alex. I shout them out every time.
Yeah.
Because I know they listen. And I love them.
This is Philip.
And Katie.
And Bridget. And we're three friends who like movies.
Especially movies of yore, when we were small and everything seemed awesome.
Now we're revisiting these bright, shining beacons of our youth and figuring out if they are for real.
So sit back and relax and revisit the best,
the worst,
and everything in between from the 80s and 90s.
And find out,
is it for real?
So you said that you don't relate to any of the judges, or I want to say judges.
We have Marcus Samuelsson, who does the Ethiopian cooking with
We talked about Curtis Stone. We talked about Dominique Crenn.
Dominique Crenn's way too fancy for me. Curtis Stone's way too fancy for me. Ming Tsai makes Asian food. And what is the last woman who I want to talk about?
Gabriella Cmar.
Yeah. She makes Mexican food. So I guess if just like, who would I be like? Dude, I'd take Ming Tsai out. Let me talk about this.
Okay.
Boston Bay. I had the biggest crush on Ming Tsai. And one time, Kristen, our friend Caitlin, who we called Doo-Doo, if I refer to her like that, and I went to Clio to go get this thing called Gucci's Midnight Ramen. It was a pop-up, and it was so cool. And Ming Tsai was there with Ken Oranger, and Kristen watches this whole thing go down. Doo-Doo does too. And they both look at me and they're like, Stephanie, please don't stare. Because I have this huge crush on Ming Tsai. And I'm like, I promise I won't stare. What do I end up doing? Staring. What do? They send us a bottle of sake. It took everything out of my body not to ask for the bottle as like a souvenir of my experience of this bottle of sake sent by two much older men to us. But it was awesome. I was so into it. But he's Boston. I've eaten his food. I could take him down. Easy.
Well, he's because I was just looking at this. I was like checking my notes to make sure I was correct. But I believe he and Marcus Samuelsson were the only two who lost in any of the matchups.
They were.
Yeah. So
to Esther Choi and other woman who was so sick.
Claudette Zapata.
Claudette Zapata. I didn't know who she was. Claudette is also one of the coolest names I've ever heard of.
Was she? I feel like I recognized her.
She was
but like from something else.
Oh, I don't know.
Was she Top Chef? Yep, she was on Top Chef. Yeah, season 15. I was like, I knew I recognized her. She was on season 15. Did she do well? I don't remember, but I remember that she was on. Her. Yeah, I was like, I had that when I watched it. I was like, she looks familiar to me. But anyway, okay, so we are deep into this show, and I don't know how much we've talked about anything like of substance on Iron Chef. But well, I mean, like, I guess in general, yeah, the judge or I keep wanting to call them judges. I don't know what that is, but the Iron Chefs.
Chefs, that's what I'm calling them.
Well, that's what they're called. Like, I'm just saying judges because I mean them. I don't know why I'm doing that because there are judges and they're different people and we're not talking about them.
Live your life. Live your truth.
But the Iron Chefs, like, yeah, what did you think just in general as a group, like, as obviously they're different from the ones.
Oh, I thought it was such a good lineup.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I didn't know who Gabriella Cmar was. And then I'm in the process of doing her masterclass because I watched the show and I did the masterclass before the show. Oh my God. If anybody has masterclass and is just into Mexican food, she shows you how to go from dried corn to moss. I don't know. It was just so cool. So I'm totally into her. Totally into her. Mingy Ming, known for a long time. He's fine. Curtis Stone, I was like, are they dialing it in? And then I was so overwhelmed. Like, I thought that the roster of Iron Chefs was on par, if not more relatable from my culinary preference than Food Network's.
Yeah, no, I really did.
I want to see Food Network's next Food Network star compete on Iron Chef. I also used to get so bored seeing Michael Simon, who I also like very much, but like compete constantly. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't enough variation. So I like that I didn't have to really watch it twice.
I do feel like that was one of the weaknesses of, and obviously I love the Food Network, but like they kind of have a set group of people and it's just.
They got the Food Network groupies.
And you're going to see them over and over
Not
and over
groupies.
again.
Oh my God, that was so wrong. They've got their Food Network like
their stable of talent.
You can watch them also start to build them. Like I bet Joe Sasso, Karen,
I feel like Brooke's on there a lot these days, right? Brooke Williamson
crushes it. She's already on. She's already Food Network. I'm talking about the next group. Eric, obviously, who I love more than anything. So I thought that I was so impressed, if not like overwhelmed with the food. And I just watched Iron Chef after watching what was that show that I've been talking about? Not A Chef's Table, but it's Final Table.
Right.
And it's just so cool. So good. So I think that they were good. What'd you think?
I thought so too. Yeah, I really liked them. And again, no shade to the Food Network, which is great, but it was like nice to see just a different group of chefs that you wouldn't normally see.
I completely agree.
And so we also we
the
talked
Food Network's listening right now, and that's why we should be apologizing.
I don't know. Like, I love the Food Network. They're great. They're the Food Network. You guys you have that in your title.
Obsessed.
You're obviously the peak. Like,
it's Food Network and then Cooking Channel.
Yeah, exactly. But they're not even worried about us. That's how
they're a monopoly.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, if anybody from Food Network's listening, I think we've professed our love enough, but I still feel really good about it.
Yeah. I think, didn't they stop doing Beat Bobby Flay? So I think Beat Stephanie Cmar would be a great addition to the Food Network.
And then, we won't even need theme music because nobody can ever spell my last name. So the theme music will just be me being like C as in Charles, M as in Mary, A-R.
They get like the Sesame Street musicians.
Every day. Every day I have to spell my last name. It's so funny.
All right. So we talked about the Iron Chefs. We talked about the first guy, Mason. But yeah, we should probably talk more about the people that competed.
Give me the next chef that went.
Okay, so the next chef, and I'm going to tip my hand here and say was my favorite, was Esther Choi.
Yep. You got a thing for Esther. You brought up Esther a lot in our just personal conversations.
Well, I did because I saw that she's hanging out with Kristen now. And I'm like, we need to get her on the podcast because she seems cool. Because I was a fan of hers going into this because I watched those Epicurious videos and she's always in them. And so when she showed up, I got really excited. But she was great and she crushed it.
She crushed it. Can I tell you that I have no idea how you stuff a chicken wing?
Oh, really?
I don't have any clue.
I don't either, but yeah, that's more surprising that you don't.
That says something because, again, I surround myself with books and food 24/7, except for my gardening adventure I just did.
But yeah, I felt like she had such a good, just clear vision, which is what I feel like you need to have. Like she had a clear game plan. She was really, and I felt like they sandbagged her a little. I don't know how you felt about this.
So?
Well, with the two athletes that they.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Where it was like, because it was Vernon Davis and Keyshawn Johnson. And it was like.
How cute were they, though?
They were great.
I don't know who they are. I don't know who they played for.
But no, they were both great. But it was just like, it was very clear there was a disparity in
Maybe they knew she was too good.
They gave her. The athlete that wasn't as comfortable. Yeah.
The people behind these cooking shows think of so much stuff.
Yeah. But
you would never.
Which also that's kind of another thing. Again, we're mostly being very positive, but of the things that I did I wasn't sure how I felt about them. especially in the early challenges, I thought there was too much going on conceptually, because the first one was a street food battle with lamb and you had to use fire. So it's like 3 different things. Theirs was, it was a tailgating thing, but you had to do ribs. Like, it was just, there was like, usually like Iron Chef is just like it's battle thing. And then it's like, now it's battle.
And I like that.
Yeah.
I used to hate the episodes where they were like, bam, and then bring out like a secret ingredient, like smoke or something stupid. And I'd be like, don't interrupt my flow or theirs.
Right. And I it just felt like we're on Netflix. We need to make sure that we do something to mix it up or something new. And it's like, you don't need to reinvent this show. This show is great as it is. Yeah. Just do battle ribs, do battle lamb. You know, you don't need to even a concept I don't mind, battle street food, because I sometimes am so fascinated by like what they come up with. Yes.
Also, I did not at all love the duel challenge.
Yeah, we should definitely talk about that. But I wanted to say real quick too, this is my own thing, because I didn't know if you felt like this. Obviously the walking taco / I think it's like called Frito pie or whatever that thing that they make that he made sounds amazing. But I would just push back on the idea that like the taco it's already a street food. Yeah, like they're really trying to sell it as like it's like a taco, but you can walk around and eat it. And I'm like, that I live in LA. That's like the entire selling point of tacos is that they are street food.
I agree.
Yeah. So
I agree.
That's me. That's my own.
He also used. Now I feel like I'm shitting on this guy. And
I'm really not trying to either.
I feel like I'm going to meet him one day and I'm going to be like, no, I was obsessed with you. You just were the episode I happened to be focusing on for some reason. Shit. Now I forgot what I said. So now I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, we're good.
It sounded so good though. I know what it was. He used a bunch of prepared chips. He used the Ruffles or the Pringles on the other one. I don't mind. I don't hate.
Yeah.
But like, that's what I'm talking about. The whimsy versus playful.
Right. And that's, I think we were both trying to get to that with him of like, and to be clear, he seems like a perfectly fine guy.
He sounds amazing. Yeah. And we're going to be having Nini on soon and she's like best friends with him.
Oh,
so Nini, we love him. Oh God, whatever. Just keep going. Keep going.
But yeah, Esther, obviously, as we said, I'm a big fan. But then the next one was like, it was battle milk, but you also had to do pastry and there had to be a cocktail. And that was the Curtis Duffy going against Dominique Crenn. But then, I think you were saying this, right? The episode 4 where they did the Iron Chef battle.
Yes.
Was weird. Yeah. Like
especially because one person was left out. I was like, what happened to the 5th person?
Which was Ming. Right?
Which was Ming. No, Ming was on there.
No, I wrote it down because it was
Curtis, Dominique, and Gabriella and Marcus. You're right.
Yeah, they left out
Mingy. Maybe he had business.
Yeah,
Bings. I didn't love it.
It felt like filler. Like it was interesting enough because I like watching all those people cook, but it felt like it was a filler episode and you only have 8 episodes. So it's just,
I think it would have made much more sense to come first.
Yeah, right.
Or last.
Yes. Yeah. It felt very weird in the middle. Yeah, I think you're totally right. Yeah. As a way to introduce the chefs and then you have to get the 5th one involved in it. You know,
well, like I was just kind of like, it was just weird positioning.
Yeah. But then we already talked about Claudette and that was the chocolate.
Yeah, she's badass. I didn't know she was a Top Chef person. Don't be surprised, anybody. I don't know anything.
And then there was the chili pepper, where that was, I really liked that guy.
Yes.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't see his name, but, I liked him and I can't remember his name.
Wonderful though.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And then some people that you recognized, I'm sure.
Oh, Gregory and May.
Yeah.
I've never met May. I really want to. She seems so scary, though. She intimidates the shit out of me.
Can I ask you about this,
you can ask me anything.
Too? Because did you feel, and I love both of those people, and they are great.
Mm-hmm.
Did it almost feel like they were ringers, though, when they're a tag team? I'm like, they are both...
Yeah.
Great. Like
sold. And then like somebody just bombed by a bazillion points or so. Something happened where I was like, oh.
Well, they lost by a point. They lost by a point to Ming, but it was like I was just like, either one of you could make an argument for either of them to probably be an Iron Chef if you wanted to.
Absolutely.
And so they're competing as the contestant, but then I'm like, together, I was like, that feels like a super team. Like
it did.
Yeah.
I would be so petrified if I walked into a kitchen with them.
That's what I'm saying is like
Gregory scares me a little bit too, and he knows it.
I honestly think I would be more intimidated to compete against the two of them than against Ming.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So
100%. I really had to think about that. 100%.
But I have an exciting, I've been saving this and I haven't told you this.
Ooh, guys, I love surprises. And he told me he had a surprise and he was like, but I'm not going to tell you. And I was like, don't you dare tell me. I'm waiting.
But to quickly recap for you and for the audience. When we had Kristen on, you and Kristen told a story. Would you like to quickly recap what that story was?
Which story?
About how you met Alton Brown on this set of...
Oh, pantless.
You didn't have pants on. You were FaceTiming.
Not pants on.
And so Kristen wanted to surprise you. She was standing next to Alton Brown. She called you on FaceTime. You answered. You did not have pants on.
Yeah.
So you... sent me, and I think we posted on the Instagram. It was, I think, Kristen had taken a still.
Yes.
So, and obviously you are familiar with this, but I'm holding it up for you.
Yep. Just pantless in the bathroom.
So in this still image that you sent, Kristen is wearing a navy blue blazer. Alton Brown is wearing a gray jacket and a light pink shirt. That only happens in one episode, and that is the episode with Gregory and May.
Is it really?
So you flashed Alton Brown during the filming of that episode.
Wow. And he saw quite a bit, guys. That's probably why they saved it for last. They were like, Alton's mood, his energy.
Yeah. That's also probably how they got the super team through. Alton was so distracted.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Guys, it was so embarrassing. It wasn't embarrassing. It was pretty embarrassing. Just pantless. And there's one of my heroes. I'm like looking up to the sky, like I'm just recalling it right now.
Did he react?
That's really good detective work, Joel.
Thank you. That was like, I was like, if there's one thing that I can add to this conversation, I felt like I can crack this case. And I actually,
I am so impressed.
I honestly did. Because I had the image and I would look at each episode and I'd be like, nope, not these outfits.
I am so impressed. I would never even think to try and pinpoint the moment that Alton Brown saw my goodies.
I just want everyone to go back and watch that episode and see if they feel like there was any difference.
I do. Now that I know, I'm totally going to watch and be like, oh, that was the break. And now he's back and he's just so happy.
What you said. So you said they record all in a row. So it probably would have been like right before the recording, right? They probably would have been setting up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's probably. Yeah.
How interesting is that? It's like I had a little piece of the show.
It is. You were an integral part of the show.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm still so focused on Claudette. She got kicked off in the second episode.
Oh, yeah. See, that was why
that stings.
Yeah. That's a bummer. All right. But
interesting.
So that was my detective work, but that was episode 7. Obviously nice to see both of them.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. And then what did you think of the finale?
I didn't watch it, Joel.
You didn't
I'm just
watch
realizing I didn't watch the finale.
You didn't watch.
As we were sitting here, I was like, I never saw who went up against.
So it was Esther.
Sick.
Yeah. But yeah, it was she competed against.
Good? Shit.
I like that's what I'm sad that you didn't see it because
I didn't see it
because it is sort of.
Why did I stop watching?
Again, you said you watch a lot of Iron Chef. I'm trying to remember. Yeah. I feel like they've had different versions, but the most that they've ever done before is what? Like you would beat maybe 2 Iron Chefs or how many?
No, I don't even know if that ever happened.
I thought they had people back sometimes or something.
Not off the top of my head.
But I can't think of anything like this where, yeah, so it's 5. Like basically she made 5 dishes and all 5 chefs each made a dish. And then she competed against all of them. It was just,
she didn't win, did she?
It was a lot. Yeah, she didn't win. Yeah.
Literally, you can see I stopped watching.
Yeah. But no, it was close, but she did not win.
Okay. It's unfair. That's a lot. Like, that's not the same.
But that's what I mean is like, it's hard to imagine anyone.
To conceptualize one dish, there had to be something behind the scenes we didn't see where they gave her like 2 days with the ingredient or something. What was the ingredient?
So they let her pick. So they basically said it could either be land or sea. And she picked sea.
Absolutely.
And then it was... So she made 5 dishes. They each made 1. And then the idea was that there was supposed to be kind of like they do on Top Chef, some sort of personal story.
Oh, God.
That they were all telling.
Okay. That's always so hard.
Yeah. And I thought she did really well. But yeah, it was just who can win that? Like that.
Who can win that? That's
yeah.
Guys. Okay. So I can't believe I'll update everybody on my feelings of the finale, but I already know. They sit at a round table. I can't get past it. Yeah,
they sit at a round table. I think that's the most important takeaway is they got to bring the old table
enjoy
back.
That part.
That's a key takeaway. The other key takeaway is Kristen did an amazing job.
Kristen did an amazing job. Alton, what's up, boo?
Oh yeah, but we already he already knows that you appreciate him.
But yeah, I loved it. I'm so glad that I guess like a few parting notes. I'm just so glad that there's new food TV on.
Right? Yeah, always happy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like I get because it's all I want to watch. You know what I mean? So I think that it was phenomenal. I'm super stoked if they get a second season. Have they gotten a second season yet? I mean, they kind of teased texting me right now. I could just.
They sort of tease. Also, we haven't talked about the chairman. He's always amazing. I love the chairman. But he sort of implied that they would be back, but I don't know if there's been an official announcement.
Okay.
But I assume.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that's going to do it for us.
Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. And just remember as you head on into the week, you've got this.
Stephanie Knows Some Shit is hosted by Stephanie Cmar and me, Joel Murphy, and produced by me. If you enjoyed the show, give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, and instead of a review, tell us about a meal that you ate or made recently. We'd love to read about it. How many times has this happened to you?
I just want to listen to a podcast. I can't choose from all these complicated structures and setups.
You want to listen, not think. That's why there's Hobo Radio. You'll feel like the smartest guy in the room in a room by yourself.
This doesn't take any intellectual thinking at all. Thanks, Hobo Radio.
Hobo Radio, a weekly podcast on the Peak Sloth Podcast Network.